In this video, I will show a day in the life of the pilots of Magyar Birds on the Donetsk front. The algorithm of Russian offensive actions is primitively uniform but effective. They use armored vehicles equipped with electronic warfare systems on the roof to destroy such targets. Specially configured drones on a different radio frequency or fiber-optic drones are needed. As we can see, the drone of the Magyar Birds was prepared for electronic warfare. The Russian armored personnel carrier was stopped, and Russian infantrymen began to disembark urgently from it. Another Russian armored vehicle appears on the horizon. The task of the Ukrainian pilots is to prevent the Russians from reaching Ukrainian positions, which means destroying the armored vehicle and assault group. The Russians advance under the protection of electronic warfare systems and then disembark in the middle of the field. At that moment, a Ukrainian kamikaze drone delivers a precise strike on the armored vehicle. After the strike, the armored personnel carrier catches fire, and even the electronic warfare system couldn't save it. The Russians still cling to the hope of returning home from the war in Ukraine. But no, they need to understand that by signing the contract, they are getting a one-way ticket. Here we can clearly see the traces of bombs dropped on the infantry fleeing into the forest. On average, the Night Doctor, as the bomber drone that operates exclusively at night is called, eliminates 40 to 60 Russian occupiers per day. Now we can observe its operation, albeit under YouTube's censorship. Another attempt to advance on Ukrainian positions. Ukrainian artillery opens fire but misses the target. However, the Russian armored personnel carrier drives over a remotely deployed mine and explodes. Here come the kamikaze drone pilots, flying in to destroy Russian vehicles. Once again, there's an electronic warfare system on the roof of the armored personnel carrier, but it won't save it this time. One drone was enough for this armored personnel carrier to catch fire. The next drone attacks another Russian infantry fighting vehicle. There is an electronic warfare system on the roof of the infantry vehicle, but it won't save it from the explosion. The reconnaissance drone shows that the explosion did not take place, so they need to try again. Here, we can clearly see two Russian armored personnel carriers burning in the fire, a one-way ticket. Another armored vehicle is advancing to assault the Ukrainian position. It's clearly visible that it also has an electronic warfare system. Earlier, the Russians welded protective netting to the armor to defend against drones, but now they've switched to using electronic warfare systems. However, nothing will save the Russian occupiers' equipment on Ukrainian soil. Another armored vehicle with infantry becomes a target for a Ukrainian kamikaze drone. This one also has an electronic warfare system on its roof. One drone hit was enough. It just parked next to another armored vehicle. The Russian infantry has already hidden in the forest, waiting for the Night Doctor. But the daytime work of the Ukrainian pilots continues. Another Russian armored vehicle appears in the field with a very large electronic warfare system on its roof. The kamikaze drone pilot attacks it and relentlessly burns the heavy armored vehicle. Here, The Ukrainian pilot notices an armored vehicle that was stationary. The reason for its stop is unknown. Perhaps the Russians simply refused to continue the assault, abandoned the vehicle, and fled. However, the Ukrainian drone operators are not concerned with that. They have a mission to destroy the target, and they carry it out. The reconnaissance drone shows that the target has not been destroyed, so the night doctor is sent to neutralize it. The drone drops several bombs, ultimately destroying the armor. The footage shows the burned-out armored vehicle after the night doctor bombing. The work of the Ukrainian pilots doesn't stop during the day. They continue to target Russian artillery guns at night. Here, a drone quietly sneaks up on the gun and strikes the barrel. The reconnaissance drone shows a hole in the barrel of the artillery gun. This means it will no longer be able to fire. Another Russian artillery gun was detected by night pilots and will now be neutralized. Once again, a final check confirms the hole in the barrel. The gun is now rendered inoperable. I remind that all of this happens in one night. 8 artillery guns were identified and destroyed by the pilots of the Magyar Birds. By morning, the Russians will face many surprises with their artillery barrels destroyed. This Russian truck drove over a remotely deployed mine at night. And now, the drone operator is about to completely destroy it. And the Russian Bukhanka is modified to transport Russian infantry. The drone operator strikes, and it catches fire. And Russians have emerged from their ambush. Now they'll have to run more and do some sports. Another Russian Bukhanka with infantry on board. A kamikaze drone catches up with it and precisely destroys the vehicle. The Russians tried to shoot it down, but their attempt was unsuccessful. That's all for today, friends. It was one day of combat for the Magyar Birds Brigade, and I will leave a link to help the brigade in the description below the video. Subscribe to the channel to not miss new videos. This video was prepared by Hustler. See you soon.